I've been creating my very own battle royale map, adding new locations each video, and this is part 3 of bringing your ideas to life. A lot of you suggested SpongeBob. I wanted this location to be in the left side of the map. I've got a full list of features I want to add to this location, including custom vehicles and a boss. But we have to start at Conch Street, so I recreated 3 of the iconic houses from the show, giving SpongeBob his textures first. The layout of SpongeBob's house has always been a mystery. Ain't no way all of these rooms fitting in this small pineapple. So I started to model out the basic shape of SpongeBob's house, starting with his living room. I want this to look exactly like the show, and that is why I'm hand drawing all of the textures. It really gives it that stylized look. I love how it turned out. So I continue building out the rest of the rooms like the kitchen area and the bedroom, which is personally my favorite. And I couldn't forget about Gary. It's pretty fun recreating some of the rooms that don't appear in many episodes. And that is all of the rooms complete for SpongeBob's house. But right next door, we have Squidward. This was the Squidward skin I made, and the plan was to put all of the different characters in their locations, starting with SpongeBob. But he is way too small to be a Fortnite skin, so I decided to give him the boots from the Squeaky Boots episodes. So now he's the same height as the player, and it actually works pretty well. I did the same for the other characters, making them slightly cooler. And I don't know if Patrick would even work as a Fortnite skin. But let's get back to making Squidward's house. So I pretty much did the same process, building out his living room. I'd love to live here. It's just so cozy. So I continued drawing out a bunch of textures for Squidward's bedroom and his bathroom. And I couldn't forget about his art room. It was pretty fun recreating some of the silly portraits he has around his house. This is definitely my favorite room. And with that, Squidward's house is complete. But there's still a ton of different locations I want to remake from the show. Starting with the last one in Conch Street. Patrick's house is a little different since he doesn't really have furniture. He kind of just... So the layout is pretty inconsistent. So I added some textures to the rock and gave it this opening animation when he gets super close. I started by texturing the inside. The plan was to make the furniture look like it's coming out of the sand. So I modeled some basic props like a couch and his bed. There's just something that's really satisfying about how this looks. It turned out great. I also started working on Sandy's house. It was pretty difficult to get this glass dome effect, but I think it turned out pretty good. I recreated the 3 props she has in her house, and this looks sick, bro. It looks exactly like the show. Even from the outside, it looks cool. I've also been testing the custom vehicle, but before that, we have to make these houses look like they're underwater. So I surrounded the location with a huge bubble and added some of the flower clouds in the sky. Every time there's an action in SpongeBob, there's bubbles that flow out of the character. I recreated this effect, and now the bubbles move through the water. I even remade a bubble trail which follows the player, and this looks sick. And with some finishing touches, this really feels like it's underwater now. But we still have to recreate my favorite location. Welcome to the Krusty Krab. I'm getting pretty good at recreating this style, and I know I say this about every location, but this one is definitely my favorite. But wait, I forgot one thing.
Why can't I just have a day off?
Anyways, the hardest part about this location was actually the scale. My boy's a little too short to reach the grill. It's pretty uncanny to see all of this in 3D, but I love Mr. Krabs' office. And just across the street, we have the Chum Bucket, which looks exactly like the original. I also finished the custom vehicle. It's pretty satisfying driving around. This location's really coming together. And honestly, the driving works pretty flawlessly. This is downtown Bikini Bottom. I really tried to push the boundaries with this one, and it's safe to say I'm super proud about how this turned out. You probably noticed some of the iconic locations, my personal favorite being the Salty Spittoon. I also made it so if I sit down here, the bus will pick me up. They drive pretty fast, and they also take you to Rock Bottom. This episode always scared me as a kid, and this was actually a suggestion from the comments. The skybox looks so good in this location. It really brings it together. I wanted this spot to really feel alive, so I added Mr. Krabs' house and the Shady Shoals. There is so many little details in this location, you probably have to go back and rewatch it. But we still have to recreate the boss area. The plan was to recreate Jellyfish Fields and have King Jellyfish as the boss. So I yoinked the model from another game and gave it some new textures. I remade the grassy terrains, adding some of the jellyfish flying around. So with some code, I made it so he follows me and takes damage. And when he gets super close...
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man.
It's actually pretty scary him chasing after me. I also recreated Spongehenge from that one episode. I've always loved the sunset vibe they have in the field. So now, when you enter the location, the time of day changes. And this really changes the vibe of the location. I really do think this is my best location yet. I'm so happy with how it turned out. It looks exactly like the show. This is definitely the most time I've spent on a location. It's gonna be super hard to top this. The map has really been evolving these past few videos, but to complete it, I still have to make the next location. The plan was to turn 3 of my favorite cartoons into a single area. I recreated the iconic treehouse, giving it some stylized textures. And this place looks huge inside the game. The layout of the treehouse is pretty complicated, so I reached out to a professional 3D artist who had recreated it completely. I love the realistic style it has, but I wanted it to be more toon shaded. So I spent several days drawing out some of the textures, trying to capture the Adventure Time style. G.West's models with my textures just looks amazing, bro. I even made it so you can ledge jump up the stairs to get to the next floor. The living room is definitely the most accurate. And finally, we have the bedroom, which is my favorite, where Jake is sleeping over here and Finn is fast asleep as well. With the inside complete of the treehouse, I started working on the outside, like adding the Ice Kingdom in the background and changing the skybox to fit this show. Crazy how much this adds to the location. Each one of these cartoons has a different style, so I'm gonna be separating them. The Amazing World of Gumball has super realistic background, similar to the GTA location I made. So I bought this model for... Yeah, I'm going broke after this video, guys. Please subscribe. This place had a bunch of the rooms remade, but there was a few things that are different from the show. So I started to replace some of the textures to make it more accurate. And the result is just amazing. I love the mix of the toon shaded and the realistic sort of assets. It looks so cool. I feel like this house really fits Fortnite since they have a ton of suburban houses on the map. I also made a Gumball NPC who honestly looks pretty cool in this environment. I thought the house would look kind of off next to the treehouse, but it fits pretty well. But it's still missing the last collab, which is regular show. I wanted to start off with the skins this time. So I created Mordecai, Pops, and Benson, giving Mordecai a Rigby bat bling. With the release of the new sidekicks, I wanted to create something similar. So I cooked up some code, and now Rigby follows me around. Why is he looking at me like that? The plan was to turn this little space into a park. So I started by recreating the iconic house. And this was really fun to do, since they have more of a hand-drawn sort of style. And I have to say, I definitely nailed it with this one. It looks like it's straight from the episode. And we can head upstairs to that bedroom where Mordecai is. I'm a really big fan of this interior. But let's head back outside. I started to make the area a lot more presentable. It's some of the foliage that really carries this style. I even included the park sign and Muscle Man's RV. I really didn't think this would work at first, but this looks amazing. This just proves that anything can work in Fortnite. I'm really happy with all 3 of these styles, like even Gumball's house looks sick. I've created 6 locations for my Battle Royale map. There's still a few spots left, so comment down below what I should create next. And what should I do for the Simpsons location, since it's already in Fortnite now. I know you guys want to play this map, but I sadly can't publish it. But I did update the FNAF location, which you can play with this code. I can never betray how much time and effort I spent on these locations, so I appreciate you guys watching to the end. Subscribe.